Hey guys, so this is where we left off with our ocean silhouette. The background is completed and now we're ready for the actual silhouette parts. So I've decided that I am going to do a hammerhead shark, at least one sea turtle, and then a regular shark. So I'm going to start off with my pencil, and I'm using the same paper so I can kind of judge about where, even though I know I'm going to be cutting these out, so that I can kind of judge size and spacing and, you know, angle that I want my shark in. So I'm going to have my shark, actually, let me just show you on here. I'm going to have my shark probably about this big, okay, and he's going to be coming down in this area, like in an angle, like he's turning his body. I'm using a visual aid that I have on my computer just to look at while I draw so that I get the anatomy of the shark for the most part right, or the outline, because honestly we're not going to see much anatomy, it's just going to be an outline, but I want to make sure it looks accurate. Okay. Okay, so his body is going to curve around like this. I always start off really sketchy because then you can kind of get darker once you figure out the lines that you like. Okay. He's got some fins. And a little fin here. And up on this side. Okay, and then I think this is part of his like back fin or something. Right there. This is pretty good. I'm just darkening up the lines now that I kind of know where the lines that are going to keep are going to be. Keep in mind when you're thinking about your sea creatures, which ones you're going to, you know, draw and things. You don't want to go with too complicated of a shape just because you are going to have to cut it out. So when you look at right here, like this is going to be a difficult place to make sure that I'm cutting along that line, because I don't want it to get messed up when I go to cut it out and like lose a fin. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to draw is going to be a sea turtle, and I'm going to draw him like kind of right over here. So I'm going to start off with his shell. I actually kind of want him at more of an angle, I think. There, I think that'll work. Okay. Alright. They've got the really, really big front flippers. And then he's got his little tail. And then their back feet Let's see. Oh, it's not really what I want to look at. Sorry, I had a different visual aid out earlier and I don't know where it went. Alright, there it is. Alright, and then their feet kind of come down more like this. Okay, and the head kind of goes right Alright. Just darkening up my lines a little bit. Alright, so now I've got two. I kind of like the way they're going around. And now I think I'm going to end with like another shark. Not a hammerhead, but like almost like I guess a great white. But he's going to be kind of farther away, so he's not going to be quite as big. So trying to get the shape right. I find him to be a little bit harder to draw. Okay. I don't want him to intersect into the other one. Alright, I gotta move him around a little. I don't want him to hit into the hammerhead. So his tail can't come farther than right here. That's where his tail needs to come. I don't usually start with the tail end of a creature, but since I have a limited space for this, I'm starting that way with this one just because I want to make sure that it goes where I want it to go, not... Their silhouette is definitely different. This is kind of... Don't be afraid to erase. If you think something doesn't look right, fix it. You know, I've never really drawn sharks. I think I've only drawn one once in my life, and it was a cartoon shark, so, yeah. Not my specialty. But it's okay. This needs to come down. Okay, and then right about here, you have another little fin. And then he's got the little fins down here. Not that keen on this shark, but he's alright, I guess. Alright, so now that I've got kind of an idea of what I've got going on here, I'm going to take my outlining pen and I'm going to outline the design that I have got going on right here. Take your time with this part. I kind of go a little faster just because I'm really used to doing this, outlining. but it'd be a real shame if you get to this part and then you mess up your outlining and you have to kind of do it over, because if I were to mess up this part, I would have to start over. There's no really fixing that. I'm going to outline my turtle here. Now the only good thing is, since the whole thing is going to be shaded in black, if you mess up like on the inside line, it doesn't matter, because you can always make it a little bit thicker there and it'll look fine. Like right here, I don't really like what happened here, so I'm going to take my line and extend it right there, and that's going to be fine because that's going to be colored in. The whole thing's going to be colored in with black anyway. Okay, so that's fine. Now on to, I guess it's kind of like either a great white shark or a bull shark, I don't know, some kind of shark. I'm not a shark expert. Alright, so now you're going to want to take your Sharpie. Hopefully my Sharpie is new. This was on your supply list. You should have 2 black Sharpies, so you are able to shade in your silhouette and it'll look nice and dark. Make sure if you are, this is going to bleed through, so if you have something that you can put behind it, I've got these little cardboard things that I can put behind mine to try to help prevent a lot of bleed through, because you don't want to mess up the rest of your sketchbook. So I'll usually try to go the inside line. With my Sharpie, because the Sharpie is a thicker point. That way I don't make some of those areas, like I don't want this area to get tighter. I want it to stay the same distance apart. I don't like how that just got a little bit less smooth, but there we go, I fixed it. Try to shade when you're coloring with your Sharpie. If you kind of go in the same direction, it makes it look neater. You don't want it to look messy or scribbly. Okay. Alright, first silhouette done. On to my sea turtle. Again, trying to stay on the inside of the lines that I already created so that I don't lose the sharpness or, you know, I don't want it to, I don't want the thickness of my Sharpie point to mess up the details of my drawing. Okay, and this is where I made that mistake earlier, so I'm fixing that right now. Okay, so now I'm just going to shade it in. It's also why I said to get 2 Sharpies, because, you know, this does take a lot, and you don't want to run out mid-drawing and then find that, oh no, the rest of it's going to look like dried out Sharpie. Which, if you've ever had that happen, it does not look good. Okay, so sea turtle's done. Now for this last shark. Also, you don't have to do these 3 animals. You can pick different sea animals, and that's perfectly fine. I just happen to choose these 3. Okay. Creativity will come in when you choose a different composition than me. Okay. So now that I have these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out, and then video 3 will work on the outside edge for your composition. So the next video you'll see me starting off with these already cut out, and then I'll show you how I'm going to go about figuring out a composition for the outside edge.